Welcome back. Welcome to our second segment. This is a trade of the week, and this is for November 1st, 2025. As always, we start with our gaps. Look what happened Friday, gap filled. Thursday, gap filled. Wednesday, gap half filled, and then toward the end, completely filled. How about Tuesday? Immediately, completely filled. And then Monday had this big gap, and basically what we did, we came very close on Thursday and Friday to close that gap. ETF, well, Argentina, with the parliament, and then the President Milei, they they won big, and Argentina was up 24.4%. On the other hand, the Amplify alternative um, was up that the it was down 7.7%. We had the semiconductors did very well, up 14.9%, and the digital payment iPay was down 6.7%. So let's talk about our Magnificent Seven. As I mentioned, for big ones, they had their earnings last week. We had um, Apple and Amazon, and we had Meta and Microsoft, and you see how they did. You see Amazon had a great day. The one concern I have is we finished on the lower end of our candle. It was up 9.5%. Apple, the same thing. It was up and then it closed on the lower end. So sometimes these concerns me. It was on Friday. We want to see if there's a follow through. And then Google has been on fire, but they still up for the week. Meta, a big loser, and they continued their loss after the earnings on Friday. And Microsoft gapped down and continued their loss. And then Nvidia was up, and then the Tesla bouncing off its 20-day moving average, and the Max 7 ETF was up for the week. So here's Apple. It did go outside after the earnings. It go outside this upper edge of expected move and came back right on the upper edge and hit all-time high at the 277. And then one thing I also, again, we talk about the Fibonacci extension. You can see this goes back to 2023, actually toward end of 2022. Since then, I had drawn this. Our 100% extension was at 272. And where are we? We are at 277, 278. That's not a bad projection. So what we want to see, is this going to be a resistance because we hit 100%, or can we continue? Amazon, a big, obviously, move out of their basically their earnings. This was more than almost three standard deviation all the way to 250 and a half all-time high. And but again, this was a red candle, so we'll see what happens on Monday. Google, outside its expected move, hit all-time high. And then we see Microsoft did go outside expected, but it came down inside. And then NVIDIA, also outside expected move. Now you see where the NASDAQ's really big return came from. And then we have Tesla right on the upper edge of expected move. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned about, again, based on seasonality, I mentioned Rockwell Automation and mentioned seasonality was from October 25th to December 7th. For the past 30 years or 33 years, it has been up for this time slot, 6 weeks time period. And this is where we were. This was the chart on October 17th. And we see pretty flat. Nothing is happening with it. 347. And then this is where we are now. So we broke above. This is a more of a shorter term, but I'm looking at we broke above the moving averages. and we are at 368. So it's been up about $21, almost 6.5% or so. And we actually at 375, we hit all-time high, by the way. We did go outside expected move and came back in. One thing is, believe it or not, we are in the squeeze when it comes on a weekly basis. So we want to watch that. And we are above our 20-week moving average. Another candidate for you is John Deere. For past 30 years, from October 27th to January 6th, it's been up every single year for this time period. It averaged about 13.4%. So just a food for thought. Here is where we are now, right around the cluster of those two moving averages, the 20 and 50. So we'll see if it will turn around, but that's where we are now from this. As far as scan for squeezes, we did the Dow Jones Industrial, some pretty good ones. We're looking at Visa, Home Depot, Procter Gamble, Chevron, and Disney. As far as last week, we had, again, big earnings, but only 287. It was our biggest week. 287 moved up, 528 moved down. Although 439 reported positively, 218 negative, 123 positive guidance, forward guidance, 60 negative, 217 hold. Amazon did beat its expectations, and that's what had a big move. Apple actually missed their expectations, and there was a talk about the iPhone sales in China. Microsoft did beat. Meta actually beat. There was disappointments. The SoFi technology beat. And then this coming week, we still got some good ones. We got Palantir, Hims and Hers. We got Uber, Shopify, AMD, Robinhood. So we still got some good ones coming up. So pay attention to that. And then again, this is our volatility candidates. So Palantir is expected to beat estimates. Advanced Micro Device is expected to beat. Him and Hers is expected to beat. Robinhood is expected to beat. And Cipher Mining is expected to beat. Navitas Semiconductor expected to beat, as well as Uber. I hope that was helpful. Wish you a wonderful weekend and a week ahead. And we'll talk again.